Let's get some more thoughts, a bit more insight now on Osama bin Laden's death and talk to Anthony Wile. He's founder and chief editor of the political website thedailybell.com. He's on the line from Zurich tonight. Thanks for being on RT. As you see it, has the world become a safer place now that Osama bin Laden's dead?
No, I don't believe so at all. I would find it very difficult to think that Osama bin Laden's death has anything to do with the world being a safer place or not at this moment in time. As long as we have a fundamentalist-driven type of philosophy that is being implemented from within the chambers of the City of London and anchored in under the cloak of Western-style democracy, then no, I don't believe you're going to continue to see anything more than types of conflicts we see today being fomented in the Middle East and throughout the North African states. It is all about a consolidation of power and readying those nation states that have been resistant or whose leaders may be resistant to a globalist governance, which would be administered by the UN, along with a global monetary structure, which would be administered by the IMF and the World Bank. So I don't believe the world's any safer with bin Laden here or gone. That does not speak to the character of the man, by the way. That is not an assessment of whether he was a good person or a bad person. Clearly, he had some issues.
Absolutely taken. That's your take on the situation. OK, but let's just look at what happened over the last 48 hours or so. The US says that Pakistani cooperation helped lead to bin Laden and his hideout. But, you know, according to the latest WikiLeaks, Pakistan intelligence was aware of his whereabouts for years. So those two stories don't kind of tally up, do they?
No, they don't tally up, and I'm not sure what the divergence of the two stories is for. However, I would say that within Pakistan, it certainly may be fortuitous if the local people were to believe that in some way, shape, or form the ISI was maybe a little bit less than forthright in attempting to, take Osama bin Laden down from this supposed mansion in which he was residing, whether you believe that to be the case or not. Of course, the U.S. would like everybody to believe on their side of the water that there are friends in these other countries who are willing to help them to put forth the types of efforts that they're doing to instill democracy around the world and to bring to justice those who they believe are the biggest oppressors to their ability to do that.
Following on from my question at the top of this interview, given what you know about Al-Qaeda, should Americans and the rest of the world be concerned about potential retaliation now? Is it likely?
Is retaliation likely? Well, I would suggest that retaliation in the context of the great conversation that we started this program with is likely because of the fact that people out there are resistant, much like they were during the era of the Gutenberg press, to forceful intrusions into their backyards to make them believe in whatever the concept or the philosophy was that was being imposed. And that's what we're dealing with today. And the Internet Reformation, as I refer to it, is no different. And people out there around the world, not only in these countries where the U.S. military-industrial complex is busily going to spread their democracy, but also within the U.S. itself, are resistant to this sort of pressure. So I would suspect that retaliation will continue.
People in America are less safe tonight than they were before. That's what I'm getting at, yeah?
Would they be less safe than they were before? I think they should be more concerned with their own government and the growing authoritarianism which is mounting within the U.S. And maybe that would be something that the soft police state that's being imposed through these gradual concessions that are being given up to this organization that is in control of the U.S. government. I would think that's something that would probably be more of a concerned threat if I was living in the United States today, for me anyway.
What's the knock-on effect going to be to the ongoing NATO campaign fighting Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan? Are we likely to see a pullout quicker now?
I do not think so at all. I believe that the forces that are on the ground, these globalist forces that have an intent on bringing in line the various nation states that need to be molded together in order to create a globalist government, I believe that they will continue those efforts, and whatever it takes, force or propaganda through mainstream Western media sources, which is continually trying to do their job as well on the ground, and the subversive activities of the CIA via movements like the Alliance for Youth movements. I believe all of this will continue, and whether or not the subversive attempts will work or whether or not the mainstream media mind manipulation will work, who's to say? But certainly NATO will continue to do, and the U.S. as the bad boy enforcers for the City of London will continue to do their job as best they can.
A lot of different takes on the story here. Anthony Wile, thank you for telling us about yours, founder and chief editor of political website thedailybell.com.